Located on the north side of Fort Worth, the construction of Texas Motor Speedway began in the spring of 1995. It required the movement of more than 4 million cubic yards of earth before it was completed the following year. The oval originally featured unique dual-angle banking, and its first major race, a NASCAR Xfinity Series event in April of '97, was won by Mark Martin. Jeff Burton won the first Cup Series race the following day in front of a sellout crowd of over 200,000. 2 months later, Kenny Irwin won the first Craftsman Truck Series race. The track has been good to Dale Earnhardt Jr. He won his first ever Xfinity Series race there in 1998, and then 2 years later won his first Cup Series event. Shortly after Junior's Xfinity Series win, the oval was reconfigured, eliminating the 8-degree section of dual-angle banking. Tonight, it's race number 7 of the Davidson Builders Cup Series, and it's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Texas Motor Speedway, the Davidson Builders Cup Series, race number 7. Race details for tonight: 125 laps the race distance, 83-degree ambient temperature, dry in Texas, 36% humidity, cloudy skies, a 13-mile-per-hour breeze, track temperature 100 degrees. That's down a bit from practice early on. We saw temperatures in that 110, 115-degree area. 2 sets of tires over the wall, and I believe a 65% fuel load this evening that gives drivers a 36 to 40 lap fuel window. We'll see how that plays into strategies this evening. No fast repairs to worry about, in 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish, if necessary. Fast time so far: Zach Millett 29.839, Connor Leach an 8.7, Derek Welch a 93, Bryant a 97, Alfie Cherinen 99. The top 5 all under the 30-second barrier. This practice still underway here at the Speedway. Again, with 2 sets of tires here tonight, it's going to be a very interesting race in terms of strategy. Obviously, the fuel anticipation, that's going to be something to look at and watch this evening. But tires, this being Texas Motor Speedway, it's going to chew those tires up. You've only got 2 sets over the wall. You got to be mindful as to when you decide to bolt those tires on. You could just go every stop that you make, bolt a set on and just kind of take care of them all the way to the end, or you could be aggressive with that strategy, kind of push the issue and kind of be the last guy to put those tires on, and then you look like Superman out there. Again, trying to pull up the schedule here. I don't have it. There we go. Get these buttons fixed. Texas Motor Speedway, of course, here tonight. Then Bristol Motor Speedway next week. That'll be our last broadcast of the week. We got Monday and Tuesday, and then we're off Wednesday and Thursday, as HBR TV and others will be down in Watkins Glen for the Cup Series race. Then we come back on the 17th to Daytona, Nashville Super Speedway for the 24th. Then we get into the playoffs, the New Atlanta, then Michigan, Iowa, Charlotte, Talladega, and wrapping up the season on the 5th of November. This broadcaster's birthday down at Homestead Miami Speedway. Good season already underway here, but much more to come. Practice session just about complete. We'll jump right into qualifying immediately following. Qualifying session, 2 laps, 10 minutes, whichever comes first. That's it. Black and red flags on the session. So we see who takes to the Speedway first to begin their qualifying attempt. Again, 2 laps or 10 minutes, whichever comes first. Looks like Crystal Villano, the first to hit pit lane. Does she roll first? Indeed she does. Crystal out of Waterford, Connecticut. Crystal with the Track Bar Media, Track Bar Motorsports livery. Crystal off turn 4 takes the green flag on her 2-lap attempt. A little shallow entry into 1 and 2. It's going to push her up on exit. That or lift, one or the other. Three and 4 look real good. Back to the dog leg, completes lap number 1. 30.930, provisional pole. 1 lap to go. Ken Couch knocks her off, 30.5. Then Jim Ott, 30.4. We'll watch Jim's second lap, see if he picks it up. Billett runs a 30.5 his first lap. Oh, real loose. Hot in the grass in the dog leg. Does he improve still? He does not. In fact, it invalidates the lap. So Ott going to stand on his first lap while Zach Millett goes to the point of 30.216. Elfie Charon a 4.19. He'll start 7th for now. Jesse Sperling a 30.735 his first trip around Texas Motor Speedway. Off turn number 2. You see how quickly that's turn 2 flattens right out on corner exit. It's a tricky course. Real loose in the middle of the corner. He saves it, but it kills the lap. Meanwhile, Ben McKinnon heads out of the pits on his out lap. Still a handful of drivers yet to take a lap. Sisler, Chuck Kiger, Dylan Bryant, Skylar Harrod, Tom Parrish, Nick Biddy, Jarrett Woodard, Josh Moore, Chris Goins, Mark Collins. Still only 3 minutes into the session, so they've got time to get that done. McKinnon crosses the stripe, 30.806 for his first lap. Millett top time still, 30.216. Nobody in the 29-second category just yet. We saw that in practice, but of course the draft may have played a part, track temperatures alike. McKinnon goes 13th with a 30.66 and almost grenades the motor after the finish line. Dylan Bryant, 30.4 on his first lap, jumps into the top 10 right out of the gate. Bryant with a very fast second lap, 30.24, still just shy of the pole, but puts him on the front row. Meanwhile, Mark Collins just finishes up. He's 12th quick. That's Sisler in the number 93. Sisler across the line, 7th quick, 30.364, lightning quick for a first lap. See if he can pick it up. That's one of our fastest first lap times. Sisler across the stripe. Lap 2 goes pole. 30.201 for Matt Sisler. He waited out the sun, got a slightly cooler racetrack, and knocks Zach Millett off the pole position. Sisler, off a recent win in LSR, puts it on pole here in Numb Thumbs. See if it holds. Nick Biddy on the racetrack, a 30.357 his first lap. That was quick too. Biddy into the dog leg across the line. Doesn't pick up. Does slightly by a few thousandths, so that's about all. Chris Goins in the Popple number 41. .6 for Chris Goins, 18th on the board. Maybe a throwaway lap. 2.5 minutes left in this session. Plenty of time for Goins. Josh Moore, another heavy hitter. He's yet to run. Goins across the stripe, 13th quick, 30.456. Josh Moore, the number 18. Picked up a win a few weeks ago at Chicagoland Speedway. First lap in the books for Moore. 6 quick. 30.288. That's a quick one for the first lap. If he can pick up, he doesn't need a whole 10th here, and he'd be on pole. Let's see what Moore's got under the hood of that Chevrolet. Down the backstretch for the final time into turn 3. If he could pick up 8.5, 9/10, he'd be there. Sorry, 9/100. Across the stripe. Moore, does he do it? He does! Josh Moore to the pole, 30.182. Benefits to waiting out the sun. Is the sun a little bit cloudy here at Texas Motor Speedway? Benefit the drivers that opted to go out late. That's going to wrap up qualifying. We're in the books here. I think there's only one driver that didn't turn a lap. That was Chuck Kiger, opting to start from the rear. But a killer lap out of Josh Moore. With that, we'll take a short break. We'll be back after this. Back at Texas Motor Speedway, we'll get to our starting grid here in just a moment. But first, let's take a look at our point standings coming into tonight. Of course, Connor Leach, the race winner last week. Connor Leach leads the point standings. PJ Cox, Chris Goins, Josh Moore, Zach Millett, the top 5 members. Zach missed a couple of races due to his vacations. Hope to keep an eye on him throughout the rest of the season. With that, though, let's get to our starting grid. On the pole position with a lap time of 30.182, it's the number 18 of Joshua Moore. Outside front row, missed it by 18 one-thousandths of a second. Matt Sisler, the number 93. Row number 2, it's Zach Millett and Dylan Bryant. Row 3, last week's winner Connor Leach and Justin Lawson. Row 4, it's Albert Anderson, the winner of the first race of this season. Paul Durkee will start to his outside. Row number 5, Nick Biddy and Jesse Redding. Skylar Herod will start from the 11th position. Alfie Charon Jr. will start 12th. 13th starter will be Jim Ott. Chris Goins, 14th. Derek Welch, 15th. 16th starter will be Brandon Coleman. 17th goes to Mark Collins. Anthony Williams, 18th. Ken Couch, 19th. Ben McKinnon, 20th. Tom Barish, 21st. Jesse Sperling, 22nd. Crystal Villano, 23rd. Scott Milner, 24th. Jarrett Woodard, 25th. 26 goes to PJ Cox. 27 goes to Ross Endicott. Joe David will start 28th, and not taking a time in qualifying will be the 22 of Chuck Kiger, starting in the 29th position. Shotgun on the field here at Texas. Your starting grid here from Texas Motor Speedway. We're going to go an extra lap here under caution before we get rolling. Joshua Moore in his stream chat says, wasn't waiting for the sun, just went to get a burrito. Very nice. We got Tower Operator in here. We got Cold Fire. Lori Vaught says, hello, HBR TV. Good luck tonight. Team All-Star and DW. Thanks for checking in, everybody. Do appreciate that. Again, taking another peek at the race details tonight. 125 laps, the race distance. Track temperature has gone up a bit. 116 degrees Fahrenheit. We expected cloudy skies here today, but the sun does keep trying to peek out. That will change the handling characteristics of this racetrack. You start sliding those tires, you're going to start wearing those tires. And, well, you've only got 2 sets over the wall, 3 total if you count what we start the race on. So still got to be mindful of what you've got to work with. Use them accordingly, not too soon and, well, hopefully not too late. Certainly nothing worse than finishing out a race, wondering what might have been if you leave a set over the wall. Again, want to make mention the yellow flags are sponsored by Mullberger Custom Homes. We kind of missed them last week. Forgot to push the button. So my apologies for that. Certainly not on Derek. That's on us here in the broadcast booth. So we wanted to make mention of it here, as we are technically under the yellow flag right now as we get ready to go racing. Pace car lights are out, so we should be green the next time by. Field starting to double up. The top 10, 15 cars are nice and tight, but everybody kind of straggling back still, even with the extra formation lap. Moore and Bryant going to lead them down.
Green flag.
Green flag in the air. Barney waving it for all he's got. Moore leads him into 1. Millett already up into the 2nd spot. Gets clear of Connor Leach and Dylan Bryant. Sisler had to go to the back. Through turns 1 and 2. Leach to the inside of Zach Millett. Down the back straightaway. That's the only battle right now up here in the top 5. But Bryant's going to become part of this as they work into turn 3. Millett still to the outside of Leach. Not quite clear. Little wiggle on the 315 through 3 and 4. He's driving that car up the racetrack. Meanwhile, 3 wide off at turn 4. Skylar Herod's got his hands full. Herod hangs onto it. He was loose in the middle of a 3-wide sandwich off turn number 4. 3-car manages to hang on. Meanwhile, out front, battle for the race lead now as Moore slips in turn 2. Leach and Millett battled for a moment, but Millett takes the race lead out of turn number 2 and into 3. So coming to lap 3, Zach Millett to the point over last week's winner, Connor Leach. Going to watch these two battle it out the rest of the season, I bet, along with Joshua Moore and others. Albert Anderson up in the 4th spot. Remember, he won a race already this season, started the season off with a race win. It's that red, white, and black number 99, the All-Star Racing Chevrolet. Josh Moore way wide out of turn number 2. Might have just lost the bottom a little bit, slipped up the racetrack, didn't hit anything, and holds on to that 4th spot. But 5th, Justin Lawson starting to close in on this group. Same as Dylan Bryant. Bryant lost a couple of spots from the drop at the green flag. Still out front, Zach Millett ahead of Connor Leach. Anderson now up into the 3rd position. Albert seems to like this place as he continues to trek forward. Started 7th, already cracked the top 3 in the first 6 laps of this race. Moore trying to take it back, gets to the bottom of the racetrack while Anderson goes a little wide out of turn 2. So Joshua thought about tucking back in behind, but stayed to the bottom, but now ultimately does get back into the tire tracks of the 99. He's right on board with Josh Moore as he tries to take back that 3rd position. Gets to the outside. Continue to battle. Moore unable to get the pass clean. Gets the fence off turn 4 just a bit. Slows his momentum slightly, but he's still in the throttle. It's one that we've noticed about the 18 of Josh Moore. He is hammered down 99% of the time. Definitely straddling the edge every opportunity he gets. Millett maintains the race lead here through lap 9, but Leach right on his tail, not giving up. Able to hold with him. It was about a 10th. It's stretched out to about 2/10, and Leach has got pressure from Anderson now. Leach blocks, drops it down to the bottom of the racetrack as Anderson was going to go down and try and apply some pressure to the 71 for that 2nd spot. Meanwhile, Lawson catches the wall off turn 4, continues on. Field off turn number 2. Millett, Leach, Anderson, the top 3. Moore now in a battle with Dylan Bryant for the 4th spot. Bryant's going to get to the bottom and try and take it away. He's clear through turn 4. Bryant up into the 4th spot. Moore loses another. Look at the lines out of turn 2. High, low, middle. You pick it, you can run it. Battle for 2nd. Anderson going for the 2nd spot. Goes around the outside of Connor Leach. A power move off turn number 4. Albert Anderson hunting the front. Started 7th. Now he's just got one more to go to be out in front of this field. Millett still leads, but he's got company. Big lift for Anderson off of 4. He does touch the wall just a little bit on the exit of turn 4. Opens the door for Connor Leach yet again. They'll be side by side into turn 1. That'll give Millett some breathing room back to these two. Now 3 is Bryant thinking about going up the gut. Opts not to. Relatively early for that kind of an aggressive move. Leach hangs on to 3rd, but now he's got Bryant to the outside looking for the 3rd spot. Going around top end for the number 28 machine of Dylan Bryant. They come together, maybe some contact off of turn 4. Bryant tucked in behind Albert Anderson. Millett getting away, over a half-second advantage. 2nd and 3rd side by side, 4th and 5th the same, and we're 3 wide. Herod going into the 6th position here, wanting more, trying to pick up a couple at the same time. Down the backstretch, they drag a race, 3 wide, but no, Moore's going to tuck in behind Bryant. Herod still to the bottom of the racetrack. Here comes Chris Goins into the picture. Man, I feel like I'm calling a race at Daytona with all this action. Still the side-by-side battle up front here, the 2nd spot. Leach to the inside. Albert Anderson still working the middle of the top lane. Hot at turn 2. Anderson may have the run. We'll see if he can keep the hammer down or if he's got a lift. Nope, he's got a lift. Leach back to 2nd. Anderson to 3rd. Josh Moore making a run to the inside to Skyler. Herod negates contact. Drives it in deep. Slips up the track. 8 tires hold better than 4. Oh, and contact, big time impact. Albert Anderson into the fence off turn 4. Sends him down across the nose and into the grass, but he keeps his foot in it. He's going to lose a couple of spots and maybe more as Bryant now to the outside. Be curious how much damage on the right front of the 99. We'll try to get a better look at it here. Of course, this is the left side of the car. That doesn't help. Yeah, a little bit of damage on the right front of the 99. It doesn't look terrible, but if it damaged that suspension, it's really going to hurt Anderson, and it must have, because he slides up the track, gets into Goins. Might have gotten some contact into Jesse Redding. Redding ended up in the fence as well. Of course, it could have been reactionary. Anderson's gone from the top 3 to 7th very quickly, way up the racetrack. Certainly not handling the way it once was prior to that wall. Race isn't over for Anderson. He's got to have some time to fix this. There's going to be opportunities, likely during a caution at some point, but then again, you never know. This league, sometimes it'll surprise you, and they'll run a whole race without a yellow. Knock on wood. Meanwhile, behind Millett, still hot and heavy battles. Leach, a little bit of breathing room for the time being. Dylan Bryant, more of the same. But speaking of more, Josh Moore banging doors with the 3 of Herod yet again. We talked about Joshua Moore early on. He's got 1 speed, and that's full throttle. Herod gets clear, and so does Chris Goins. Moore loses a couple of spots here, slips to P6. Remember the fuel window tonight, 36 to 40 laps. Just about halfway through that fuel run. Chris Goins, the biggest mover within the top 10 thus far. He's up 9 positions, running in the 5th spot behind the 3 of Herod and Dylan Bryant and Connor Leach. And, of course, race leader Zach Millett. Millett out to a 1.8-second advantage on the rest of the field. Herod now underneath Dylan Bryant. Slides up, across the nose of the 28. Now Bryant crosses over and gets to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll take the spot from Herod without much of a fight. Chris Goins thought about trying to do the same, but ran out of room to get it done. Herod drops to fourth. Now Goins applying pressure to the inside out of turn 2. It gets real flat, real dicey on the exit of turn number 2. Josh Moore is regrouped here. He's on the back bumper, the 41 into 3. Goins and Herod side by side through 3 and 4. Josh Moore closes the gap on both drivers. So does Jesse Redding. Redding in the gray and green number 21. No, Goins slides up the track, gets into the door of the 3. Big push from Josh Moore on the back of Skylar Herod. Moore now to the inside of the 3. Through the dog leg, side by side at start finish. Moore's going to drive it down into 1 here. Should have the position. Herod might battle back. No, tucks in behind the 18. So now Moore up into the 4th position. Josh Sisk in the stream chat says the 3's door is already wore out. Josh Moore topside now as Herod goes back to the bottom. Now Chris Goins will run in behind the 18. Jesse Redding a couple cars back from the 41. He'll do the same, follow the tire tracks of Chris Goins. 25 laps complete here at Texas Motor Speedway. Billett still leads. 2-second advantage on the field right now. Again, the question will remain. His first round of pit stops going to be coming up in the next 10 to 15 laps. Who goes tires? Can't imagine anybody's going to, but I imagine everybody's going to want to. Likely a fuel-only stop this first round. If you don't do it now, you got to do it at least sometime later. You got much more fuel, or less fuel than you have tires, or is it the other way around? I don't know. It's been a long week, and yes, it's only Tuesday. Checking on Matt Sisler, running back in the 15th position. Strong qualifying run, but did have to go to the back to serve a penalty to start this race. Effectively down 13 positions, but he's up about the same. Joel Moore in the stream chat says, let's go Joshua Burrito Moore. That could be Josh's new nickname, Moss Burrito. Meanwhile, back up front, things starting to separate through the top 3. Billett, Leach, and Bryant able to cruise around and kind of set their own pace. Josh Moore in 4th. Limited pressure out the back window with Chris Goins just a few car lengths back. Skylar Herod in the 6th position. 7th is Redding. Alfie Sharon we haven't talked much about, but he's quietly working his way towards the front. Up 4 positions, running in 8th. And Paul Durkee and Nick Biddy rounding out the top 10. Already hearing some drivers start to cut the fuel on corner entry, pulling the lift and coast, trying to save as much gas as possible. Battle for position here. PJ Cox, Brandon Coleman, real close quarters off turn 4. PJ Cox, the trailing car, the 05. AMCO Transmissions Toyota. This the battle for the 18th position. PJ is going to look to the inside down the backstretch here, down into turn 3, try to retake this position. Cox can't get it done off of 4. Coleman maintains the position. Next lap, same option. PJ drives it to the bottom of turn 3 yet again. Coleman hangs on the outside. PJ hangs tough this time, still side by side across the line. Will he do it again here in 1 and 2? Real close quarters through 1 and 2. Almost contact between the two drivers. Off turn number 2, though, Coleman's going to have the run. PJ may have to slot in behind. He does. While these two continue to fight it out, there's a battle behind them as well. Joe David and Justin Lawson. Lawson, a little bit of an issue off turn 4. Now in the grass through the dog leg. He's going to lose a spot, maybe 2. Jarrett Woodard's going to go on by as well. Meanwhile, this battle continues. Brandon Coleman in the 11 and PJ Cox in the 05. Back and forth, side by side for the last handful of laps as we approach green flag pit stops. PJ gets around and gets clear. Meanwhile, Joe David and Jarrett Woodard have closed in on these two. While they've been monkeying around for position, it's allowed the 6 and the 79 to close the gap. Coleman trying to battle back on the bottom. What a great battle this is. PJ missed the line here. I think it went way up the racetrack here. I think Joe David may take a spot 2, or at least attack to it. Coleman not quite clear. PJ battles back down the back straightaway. Big run out of 2. Really thought he was too far up the racetrack to have that run, but it worked. Off of 4, Coleman still clear and ahead of the 05. PJ crosses over, looks to the bottom. Almost contact into 1 and 2. If you're going to do it now. Don't wreck each other after we start pitting. Nobody wants that. PJ Cox back to the bottom of the racetrack. Joe David and Jarrett Woodard are sitting here watching this, and they're either anxious to get by because they don't want to be collected in the incident, or they're just watching it, simultaneously being impressed. Either way, we're having fun up here in the booth watching it. 38 laps complete. Pit stop's just about to get underway. Joe David seems a little frustrated behind the 05, trying to find a way around, but PJ takes the spot back. So now Coleman's going to lose a spot not only to PJ Cox but also Joe David. Joe's still not quite clear, but he does seem a bit faster than both drivers. Runs the 11 up the racetrack out of 4. Woodard goes to the inside. Here comes Justin Lawson, shot out of a cannon. Through the grass. Where did he come from? For a moment, it looked like he was on new tires, but no one's made their pit stop just yet. Back out front, Zach Millett. Again, we expected 36 to 40 laps, the most you're going to be able to go on a tank of fuel. Here we are on lap 41. We'll see if Millett opts to pit this time or if he's going to stretch it another one. He's coasting through turns 3 and 4. I'd assume he's doing the same on the opposite end of the racetrack. Stays out yet again. Completes lap 41. Meanwhile, Jim Ott hits pit road, the first driver to pull off and make his first stop. Millett, meanwhile, a 3.4 second advantage over the rest of the field. Will he come to pit lane this time? And there he is, through the gears, on the brakes, trying to get a road down to pit speed. Race leader is in, as well as Connor Leach, Skylar Harrod, Alfie Sharon, Anthony Williams, Jesse Sperling, Ken Couch. It's Millett in the box. Millett's going to take that first set of tires now, so which means he's going to suffer later on. Everyone's going to have to go through it at some point. Millett drops the jack down and away. So 42 laps on a tank of fuel for Zach Millett. Not just Zach, but a lot of guys too. Meanwhile, Jesse Redding, your new race leader. Now Chris Goins and others, Dylan Bryant, Nick Biddy, Josh Moore, Paul Durkee, Matt Sisler, Derek Welch, Mark Collins, all on the pit lane. Goins is going to take 4 as well. Now Jesse Redding from the race lead will hit pit lane. Impressive. Redding able to go 44 laps on a tank of fuel. 8 laps, almost 8 laps more than we expected anybody able to go. So either somebody did the math wrong or someone, well, everyone, got really good at saving fuel. Either way, Jesse Redding down and away, 14.98 the pit stop. .45 laps complete here from Texas Motor Speedway. Zach Millett has cycled back to the race lead, and look at the advantage he gained on second place Connor Leach. It was about 3.4 prior to the pit stop. Now it's just under 7 seconds after the pit stop. All that translates to, they came at the same time as far as the pit stop was concerned. All that translates to is how quickly you're able to get into and out of pit lane. Zach Millett has made a career out of getting in and out of pit lane. Gets on those brakes at the absolute last second, somehow manages to not lock up the tires. More importantly, manages to not speed. I think we've seen Millett get caught for speeding, at least here at HBR TV, through multiple leagues that we cover that he races in. I've seen it happen once. And that's over a course of about 2+ years calling races. The guy's a machine. Meanwhile, in the second spot, Connor Leach, the number 71, again, last week's winner. Leach also took 4 tires. Just to do a little bit of math here, looking at the difference, talk about the time difference that's on the racetrack right now. Millett must be saving his stuff because he's given up a lot of time to Leach right now. Knowing that this is going to be a longer run, it makes sense. But going back to the time differential, Millett's pit lane time, which means entry, the pit stop itself, and exit. 41.95 seconds. Connor Leach, 43.45 seconds. Now their pit stop times, Millett was a 14.70, Leach was a 14.75, so only 0.05 of a second difference between the two pit stops. But all that time, gained or lost, however you're looking at it, was entry and exit. About a second and a half just there alone on the pits. Now obviously the time you gained on the brakes getting into the pits, that's not measured. But certainly some additional time was made up there as well. So first round of green flag stops are complete here from Texas Motor Speedway. Zach Millett still leads. We're going to take a side-by-side break, get that out of the way now, and we'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Texas Motor Speedway, 57 laps in the books. Zach Millett still leads. Connor Leach, Chris Goins, Jim Ott, Alfie Sharon Jr., the top five. Then it's Dylan Bryant, Nick Biddy, Paul Durkee, Jesse Redding, and Skylar Harrod, the top 10. Want to follow up on Albert Anderson, who was so strong earlier on. Unfortunately, that damage repair taking much longer than he had expected. Spent over a minute in pit lane, now finds himself 27th, 3 laps down. Really a shame. He was so fast. Looks like he's coming back to the pits. Anderson pulls it down to the apron of the racetrack. And back on pit lane. Meanwhile, Brian Torcha in the stream chat says, out camping, be back next week. So my guess is Anderson got some of the repairs made and said, all right, let's go try it and see how it feels. Now he's going to bolt on a set of tires. This might be his last set. I don't know if that was unintentional or not, but either way, he's got them now. He's back out front. Zach Millett putting a lap on the 79 with Jarrett Woodard. Leach still second, 7.6 seconds back. Chris Goins running third, Jim Ott fourth. You see about 10, 15 car lengths between Goins and Ott. Alfie Charon Jr. running in the fifth spot. Dylan Bryant, who was quick earlier, he's still up in the top 10, running in P6. Looking through the field and all their pit stops there, about lap 41 to 44. I don't think anybody went to 44. Yeah, one driver did, and that was Jesse Redding. But all those drivers did take their first of two sets of tires. Looks like Derek Welch might have taken right sides or fuel only, hard to say. Joshua Moore might have been the same. Moore back in the 20th position. But if he did just take fuel, of course, that means he's still got two sets to work with here as we're just past the halfway point. Now he can split this race in half with the two sets he's still got over the wall, but he's got to make it all the way to that next round of pit stops. Leaders into some lap traffic. Alfie Charon, sixth place machine, working on Dylan Bryant, but there's some lappers in this mix. Derek Welch, one of them. And Welch, like we just said about a moment ago, he did not take tires. If he did, it might have been rights only. Joshua Moore in the same boat. They're both way up the racetrack. Russ Endicott goes up as well. He follows him through. Endicott also on a no tire strategy. Billett just continues to increase his advantage over second place. It's now just shy of 9 seconds. Chris Goins has caught the back of Connor Leach, so that lead that Millett has is likely to get bigger if these two start battling for that second spot. Leach goes to the bottom trying to dispose of the lap car, the number 22 machine of Chuck Kiger. Leach puts a couple of car lengths on Chris Goins here. That battle dissipating slightly. I don't know if Goins was able to reel in the 71 due to some lap traffic. Keep a close eye on this battle here for the second position. Dylan Bryant's going to come to pit lane right now. This is a little bit early as far as fuel is concerned. And it looks like he did take tires on his first stop. So I'm curious to see what he does here. Looks like fuel only for Bryant. Drops the jack, down he goes, 7.6 seconds. Strategy is going to get him pretty well off cycle with the rest of the field. Hard to foresee how that's going to work out. We'll have to keep a close eye on that as the race continues on. Leach maintaining the second position. Goins in third, about a car length and a half off the back bumper. Goins to the outside in turn one. See kind of a run the 41 has out of turn number 2. Might have the pace down the backstretch and into 3 to complete this pass. Side by side, they drag race down the back straightaway. Leach hanging tough to the inside. Back now into turns 3 and 4. Goins not giving an inch. Still right there to the outside. Goins had the second spot at the line, but still not quite clear as Leach doesn't want to give up. 22 in behind both of these drivers. That's Chuck Kiger. He is not a lead lap machine. Chuck back in the 28th position. Meanwhile, Josh Moore in pit lane as well. This might be a tire stop for Moore. Goins completes the pass for the second position. We'll watch the pit stop for the 18. Pulls into that number 1 stall. His position for winning the pole. Moore's got the right side tires going on. Crew around to the left. Oh, and he leaves the session. Josh Moore, I don't know if he lost connection or if he left intentionally. Oh, man. Well, that's unfortunate for the 18. We'll double check back shortly here to make sure. No, he didn't come back. It's too bad. 72 laps complete. Yet to see the yellow flag fly here tonight. Zach Millett's been out in front for the majority of the race to this point. A few laps is all it took to put the 315 in the wind at the front of the field. Millett into some lap traffic yet again. Meanwhile, Chris Goins maintaining that second spot, puts a handful of car lengths on Connor Leach. Back in the top 5, Alfie Charon jumps to the 5th spot. Nobody close out in front, nobody close out the rear view mirror. Alfie just turning some laps, taking care of the car. Running back in the 6th position, the first competitor for Alfie Charon, it's Nick Biddy. Dylan Bryant to the inside. Paul Durkee running in the 7th position. So we're probably about 7 or 8 laps away from another round of green flag stops. If everybody is able to stretch the fuel the same way that they did in the first fuel run. Again, Millett came down after 42 laps. Goins was 43. Leach was 42. Jim Ott 41. Everybody up and down pit road, about 41 to lap 43. The only one that went further was the 21 of Jesse Redding. Jesse Redding went 44 laps on a tank of fuel. Stand to reason that the 21 could go to lap 88 if he plays his cards right, if he saved fuel in the same way that he did in that first run. And honestly, if Jesse can get that kind of fuel mileage, he could technically pit, I think, about lap 81 or 82, and he'd be good to go to the end. He'd be out to lunch for a green-white checkered finish. But if he goes on the same strategy, comes down at lap 88, he'd be about 5, 6, 7 laps to the good, which would give him the fuel to do green-white checkered if we run green all the way to the end. And that remains to be seen. It's been very clean so far. But we saw when guys are pushing the limit in qualifying, some drivers getting crossed up, getting sideways, spinning the car out. Well, we get near the end of these races, the same thing tends to happen. Guys push the envelope, try to get more than they have been, kind of walk that fine line. Sometimes you step over it. That's when we get cautions. And then we get the caution, it bunches everybody back up, and then we get more cautions. It's just how it works, folks. So far, so good. Zach Millett still out in front, really shedding some pace is the difference between himself and Chris Goins now. 7.5 seconds. It was about 9+ not that long ago. Either Goins is just hammered down or Millett's a little bit off the pace trying to save more fuel, or a combination of the two. Current top 10, it's Zach Millett, Chris Goins, Connor Leach, Jim Ott, Alfie Chair in the top 5. Nick Biddy runs 6th, Paul Durkee 7th, Jesse Redding 8th, Matt Sisler up into the top 10 in 9th, and Skylar Harrod still 10th. It's right on board with Zach. We'll listen to him save fuel here. Watch the gauges on the dash. It's kind of by his right thumb there, the RPM signal. 72, 73, 74, 75. It goes up, 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 up. He'll clutch it, lift off the throttle, and let it coast down to idle at 300 RPM, then pick the throttle back up. You're using all of that energy you put into the speed of the race car, but you're cutting the motor off so it doesn't unnecessarily use additional fuel. Does it again here, out of the gas way early into 1. Almost to the middle of turns 1 and 2 before he picks the gas back up. Lap 81. I think one more lap puts everybody within a fuel window that they can make it to the final lap and likely the checkered flag. Granted, that's going to be at the pace that they've been running all race long. If they continue this way, sure, they can do that. But if they really start pushing the issue, bump up the aggression level, you're going to consume more fuel. So some of these guys may want to stay out a little bit longer. Maybe buy some insurance for that possible green-white checkered finish that, I don't know, we could see it. The way this race is going, I don't expect to see it, but anything could happen. Meanwhile, Jim Ott into pit lane. Oh, he looked a little hot coming in. Hopefully he didn't get caught speeding. Jim Ott brings the number 4 Camaro to pit lane. Likely his final stop of the afternoon. Comes to a stop in pit stall number 13. Right side tires going on. Sunoco race fuel getting dumped in. Drops the jack crew around the left side. 4 tires and Sunoco fuel. Final stop complete. Drops the jack. He got in without speeding. Jim Ott on the way out. 14.92. Pit stop. Connor Leach going to do the same. Leach comes in, lap 84. Again, everybody should be within their pit window as far as fuel is concerned at this point. Caution, of course, would only help that for everybody involved. Right side tires for certain. It's going to be 4 tires. I can't see anybody going with just rights. And Connor Leach is down and away, 14.87. Nick Biddy on the pit lane. So is Skylar Harrod, Matt Sisler. Now Millett has a pretty strong advantage here. And I Yeah, he's only made the one pit stop, so he may actually just take another set of tires right now and call it good. It's hard to leave him over the wall here, and this thing runs all the way to the end, and you don't have to stop again for fuel. Well, Alfie Charon in the pits. Alfie took tires on his first stop as well. I think some of these guys didn't realize they were going to be able to do this in 2 stops. Some, like I said, on that first pit stop, they did not take any tires. Tried to save an extra set. Now, if this plays out where we get a late caution and those guys that still saved a set, well, of course, they're going to cash in. Alfie Charon down and away, 15:22. Millett's done a better job saving fuel this time. Remember, he came down at lap 42, and here he comes again. The end of lap 87. He won another 3 laps, I think a 46 laps he went. Locked him up again coming to the pits. Hopefully Millett doesn't get caught speeding. He had a pretty healthy advantage, didn't need to be very aggressive, could have played it pretty conservative. Hopefully he's okay. Millett in the box, going to take his last set. And yes, he is. Right side tires going on. Jesse Redding also comes to pit lane. Expected that about this time based on his first stint. But both of these drivers, Millett and Redding, good to go with a little extra all the way to the end. Millett down and away. 14:78 the pit stop. He's going to leave the pits with the lead. Jamont closing the gap within 3.3, 3.2, 3.1. Millett still coming up to speed down the back straightaway. Should be good by the time he gets to turn 3. And there you have it. Clean execution by Zach Millett. Pit lane time a little longer this time, 42:17. It was in the 41s the previous pit stop, but nevertheless, Millett still out in front. Jim Ott made that pit stop about 5 laps prior to Zach Millett. Now, you see how close they are on the racetrack? 2.1 seconds, the differential between the 315 and the 4. That is how much tire fall off there is at this place. He was able to reel in that much time in just 5 laps on Zach Millett, but he's running second now, 2.1 back. Ooh, Ken Couch getting crossed up at the bottom of the racetrack. Hangs onto it. Millett just going to need to get settled back in here with 36 laps remaining. Jesse Redding back in the 11th position after the pit stops. Jesse Sperling running back in 14th, the last car in the lead lap currently. Does appear that everybody has completed their second green flag pit stop here at Texas Motor Speedway. Lap 92 goes up on the board here. We're going to take yet one more side-by-side break. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Texas Motor Speedway. Zach Millett still out in front, increasing his lead over the 4 of Jim Ott. It's almost 4 seconds now. Now the situation at Millett's fast, we know that. A couple of wins on the season already. Atlanta Motor Speedway and then the Glen, and then missed a couple races. But he's out there with a 5-lap tire advantage over second place Jim Ott. 4-lap tire advantage over third place Connor Leach. And only a 1-lap advantage over fourth place Chris Gones. See how this plays out. So we're going to see a battle here for the second spot. Third also. 25 laps to go. Jim Ott running in the second spot. Connor Leach with pressure from Chris Gones now. There you see second, third, and fourth there all in a row as Gones goes to the bottom of the racetrack to take third from Connor Leach. But Leach battles back around the outside off turn number 4. Clears Gones back through the dogleg. Leach now goes to the bottom, trying to take second from Jim Ott. See if the same plays out between these two. Leach hanging on the left rear of the 4. Now Gones working the outside, gives Ott a bit of a push down into turn 3. Gones goes up the racetrack. 3 drivers, 3 different lines. Do they split the 4? No. Oh, Gones in the fence, contact with Connor Leach. They keep it going, still side by side at start-finish. Could have ended in disaster, but both drivers get away from it cleanly. Ott goes to the bottom, blocks the run from Leach. Goes back to the top, does the same to Gones. 23 laps remaining. Gones finally gets clear of Connor Leach, puts his sights on the 4 of Jim Ott for the second spot. Less than 22 laps to go. Millett just cruising at 5.7 seconds lead over these two drivers, Jim Ott, Chris Gones. 22 to go. Haven't seen the yellow flag all afternoon. Still crossing our fingers that it stays that way. Top 12 on the lead lap. It's the way it goes sometimes. You get these long green flag runs. Every time everybody hits pit lane, that's where you see things change. Drivers losing laps. There's a handful of guys that had some issues out on track as Chris Gones goes to the second spot. 20 laps to go. Gones has got work to do, though. 6.1, well, 6 seconds back from Zach Millett. Last lap, Millett ran a 32.23. Gones 0.2 off at a 32.43. Though Gones does have the better fast lap of the day between the two of them. Connor Leach settled into the 4th position. Nick Biddy a ways back, about 6 seconds behind the 71, still a ways to go. Meanwhile, Alfie Charon running in 6th, within striking distance of Nick Biddy, a car length and a half maybe between these two. We'll keep an eye on this. Is a battle likely to shape up? Biddy with 1 lap older tires than Alfie Charon. Charon about 2/10 faster that last time by. Hasn't been able to find a way around the 32 just yet, but he certainly has the pace. Slips up the track just a little off turn number 2. Joe David just ahead. David running 17th, lap down. Six machine costing Charon just a little bit of time on the exit of turn 4. Certainly not intentional, but Alfie wasn't able to open the wheel up the way he wanted to maintain the momentum out of the corner. Does draw back close again to Biddy into 3. It's a car length, maybe a little less between the two of them. 16 laps to go. Oh, Alfie gets the wall there a little bit off at turn 4. That really breaks the momentum of the 9. Joe David now going back to the inside. Again, this is not for position. Joe's running 17th, a lap down. Alfie running 6th. I don't know if Alfie just lost the pace that he had on Nick Biddy. If he's just cooling these tires down to make another run at him, but the 32 is getting a little bit smaller out the front of that number 9 Camaro. Chris Goins in the second spot. Jim Ott still a couple of tenths behind the 41. Jim doing a good job on the older tires by comparison. Granted, it's not a ton of laps, but makes a difference. Chris Goins into some lap traffic. Scott Milner in the 31. Crystal Milano with the 07. Both drivers giving the leader some space. Back to Alfie Charon and Nick Biddy. Biddy still is the leader in this fight here. Biddy running 5th. About 4 or 5 car lengths between the two of them to this point, but Josh Sisk in the stream chat says the 9 and the 32 have passed each other at least 4 times. It's been awesome racing. Fortunately, I think we caught the tail end of it. I don't know if Alfie just burned up his stuff or what the case is. Biddy, every lap, putting a little more distance on the 9. Really is one of the closest battles on the racetrack right now. It's Biddy and Charon. They're not super close together, but the closest within the lead lap cars. Biddy about 6 tenths ahead of the 9. Everybody else seconds apart. Further back in the top 10, a battle with Jesse Redding and Skylar Harrod. Redding has the 8th position for the time being, but Harrod reeling in the 21. Jesse pit lap 87, about 3 laps newer tires. But Jesse's been an animal at saving fuel tonight, but with 8 to go, he doesn't need to worry about saving fuel. He's just got to go. Redding hanging out of the spot for the time being, but Harrod is right there. Maybe a car length between the 21 and the 3. Less than 7 laps to go. And Skylar Harrod is right there in the entrance to turn number 3. Loses a little bit on entry, but drops it down. A little bit shorter distance on that low line. Slips up the track a bit, still in the wake of the 21. Back to start finish. A car length separates the two yet again. 6 laps remain. And Skylar just draws right back to the 21. Middle of 1 and 2. Might have a big run here. Harrod opened up the wheel on the exit of turn 2. Straightened things out a little bit earlier than Jesse Redding, but to no avail. Can't get too close in the middle of 3 and 4 this time. Back to start finish. 5 laps to go. Redding hangs on to the 8th spot for the time being. Dylan Bryant back into the picture, but he's not a contender for position. He runs 18th. Tell you though, Harrod saw him coming and decided it was time to go. He was just inches off the back bumper of Jesse Redding, but now Bryant jumps to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to move forward track positionally. This is not a spot. Bryant, 18th. 1 lap down, likely with some fresher tires. Yes, indeed, he made his pit stop at lap 103 as we've got 4 laps to go. Bryant gets through cleanly, but this might open the door for Harrod. Harrod could follow Bryant through here. He's as close as we've seen him in the last handful of laps. Out of turn number 2, they may be side by side, and indeed they are close to it. Harrod might drive it in deep into turn 3. He does. Still side by side with Jesse Redding, middle of turns 3 and 4. Exit at turn 4. Still side by side at the line. Redding is going to have it at the line. Got 3 to go. Got Vince Short in the chat saying hello. What's going on, Vince? Still side by side. 2 to go is the race leader, Zach Millett, out in front by 7.2 seconds. Harrod just can't quite get clear of Jesse Redding. He was alongside, but couldn't get further enough along and backs off quite a bit here. Millett out of turn number 4, getting ready to look at the white flag. Barney pulls it out of the sheet, waves it. Final lap here from Texas Motor Speedway. Zach Millett into 1 and 2. Missed a couple of weeks due to vacationing. Can't say that I blame him, but he hasn't missed a step here tonight. 2 wins on the season. Atlanta Motor Speedway, Watkins Glen International, then the vacation. Now through turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Going to pick up his 3rd win on the season. Zach Millett, dominant performance tonight. Takes the checkered flag here at Texas. Throwing it into turn 1, drifting already. Second place was Chris Goins. Connor Leach, last week's winner, finishes 3rd. Still a solid points effort for the 71. Millett takes the win. Millett back to the dog leg to begin his celebration. Millett parks alongside teammate Chris Gones after his celebration. And we'll step aside here, get another break out of the way, and we'll be back with our top 3 finishers after this. Stay with us.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Texas Motor Speedway, Zach Millett, fresh off the vacation, well-rested and lightning fast, picks up his 3rd win of the season here at Texas. We'll pull the driver of the 315 up into the broadcast booth, get a word with our race winner. Zach, it's Steve with HBR TV in the booth. You got us?
Hey, Steve. How you doing, man?
We're doing good, Zach. Congratulations, man. Well, vacation over with, well rested, and plenty fast. Didn't quite have pole pace in qualifying. You started there in the, I think, third position, moved up a little bit with some guys going to the back, but it was only a lap or two before put the 315 in the wind and out in front. Walk us through those first couple of laps, getting to the front, and then tire strategy thereafter, and how you carry this thing all the way to the end without a single yellow flag.
Yeah, it's nice to go, green to checker. That was pretty awesome, especially here at Texas, man. You get a hot track in these cars. It's a lot of fun to slide them around. But yeah, right off the start there, I think more got loose or something. I was on the high side there, and I just kind of benefited from that mistake. And I didn't really plan on being out front in the first part of this race. I just wanted to ride and save fuel. And yeah, we got lucky there. I had Connor behind me, so I knew I was good there. I wasn't going to get, driven hard or anything. And yeah, we just kind of got into the run, and luckily he started getting pressure from behind, and it kind of escaped the draft from him. So once I got there, man, it was perfect. I was just out on cruise control and shutting it off when I could, saving what I could, and yeah, just trying to hit my numbers.
Relatively clean race here. We talked pre-race broadcast to some drivers, and we expected the fuel window to be between 36 and 40 laps. It seems like everybody in the field was able to go between 40 and 44 laps. What changed as far as that's concerned? Is the hot weather, reduced pace the main reason for that, or were you really pushing to save some fuel?
I know I was definitely pushing, but yeah, I think the temperatures really played a factor. You couldn't be on the throttle as much. And I mean, our practice session was pretty close to temperature, but I don't know, maybe it just wasn't as cloudy. It was definitely toasty. I think it was about 117, 116 most of the time. But if you could really, shut the car off or at least clutch it on your entry, you really do coast a long way before you can even get back into the gas. So as long as you do that and keep it out of the wall, you're going to be there.
It paid off for you quite well. What was going through your head? Obviously, 2 sets of tires to work with tonight, at least over the wall. You could, as you did, get away with bolting a set on at the first stop, bolting the other set on at the final stop, knowing the fuel economy that everybody had. But was anybody nervous about the caution coming out there with maybe 15 or 20 to go? I know some guys actually left some tires over the wall.
Yeah, we were nervous at the beginning of the race about it because it just seems like most of these races, people they're slow and they kind of just, coast around the whole race until, like you said, 20 to go or so, and then there's magically a caution every time, and they come down, pick up their set of tires, and they're about 2 seconds a lap faster than everybody else. But I don't know, this track, you lose so much every lap if you were on old tires. I think it's about a 3 or 4 second difference on pace. So even if you're out there on new tires saving, you're still significantly faster. So I think some of those guys, it was easy to tell who didn't take tires the first stop. We ended up lapping them, I think, 2 or 3 times, and yeah, it's just all pace.
Things change quite a bit next week. Bristol Motor Speedway, the last Coliseum. How are you going to approach the short track and the high banks at Bristol next week?
Well, I think we'll be planning for a lot of cautions there. I think that's a safe bet. But yeah, we'll put the practice in with the Track Bar Motorsports guys, and it'll be something in these cars, man. I know it's a lot of fun in the next gens. I hope it's as fun in these things. I'm sure it is. So looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it as well. Zach, congrats yet again on a race win, 3rd of the season here at Texas. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
Steve, I got to thank you and HBR TV for the broadcast. It's always awesome to go back and watch it. HBRTV1.com, Track Bar Media, Track Bar Motorsports, Castle Pax Power. Big thanks to the NTRL, all the admins, everything they do. Shout out to all the Twitch viewers tonight. Everybody who jumped in. Everybody's in, watching your broadcast as well. Shout out to Bowie Esports, and big thanks to all the Track Bar Media guys. It's fun to hop on here and practice with the guys and gal, and look forward to it every week. It's nice to be back, man.
Zach Millett, congrats yet again. Good luck next week at Bristol.
Thanks, brother.
Zach Millett, your race winner here at Texas Motor Speedway. Next, we're going to pull the driver of the Popple Pro number 41 up into the broadcast booth. The driver of the number 41, it's Chris Goins. Chris,
yeah.
It's Steve in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. What's going on, Steve?
Well, Chris, congratulations. A solid run. Started 14th, and you bring home this car all the way up into the 2nd spot. I don't think anybody was catching Zach Millett here tonight, but you've had your work cut out for you this evening. Some great battles with yourself and the 71 at Connor Leach. What was your strategy coming into tonight? Was it just bolt on the tires and go, or just kind of take it lap for lap and play it how it comes.
Well, my first part was try to qualify pretty well, and that didn't happen. So then we had to drop back and punt there for a second. But no, I mean, in all honesty, the strategy that I had in my head was strictly based on what the first 20 laps looked like. And if it was going to go green, and we felt like it was going to go green the whole time, then we knew that if we stretched the fuel just a little bit, we could make it on 2 stops. So just throw the tires on and send it, right? So luckily, this group of guys that run, and Crystal, that run really clean, it's we were able to run the full thing under green, and the tires for every stop strategy worked out there.
Saw you get into the wall a little bit there off of turn 4, I believe it was, late in this race while battling with Connor Leach. Didn't seem to hurt the car too terribly bad, maybe broke some momentum. Clearly you were able to bounce back and run in that second position. What exactly happened there? Did the 71 push you up the track, or you just lose the nose?
No, not at all. I mean, me and Connor and Jim were running really tight there together, and Connor had that preferred line in 3 and 4 on the old tires is for me anyway, is hugging that bottom. So, I tried to get in it a little bit too quickly. You got to kind of let it coast through there on old tires. And, I got in it just a little bit too quick, and the back end stepped out just a hair. And I mean, the contact that I had with the wall didn't even move the wheel. It just kind of nudged it. And then me and Connor were so close that we touched, and we just all kept it straight and kept it going. I don't even think we lost too much ground there, but no, it was fun running those guys and racing those guys clean, and that was just a fun there at that last stint.
Well, it paid off for you. You come home in the second position here at Texas. We look forward to Bristol Motor Speedway next week. It's like a washing machine for cars, right? What's the game plan and the strategy rolling into the short track next week?
Well, first off, I'm not sure who we is looking forward to this Bristol next week, because I am not in that group. But no, I mean, in all honesty, it's survival next week. I don't have any idea what that track is going to hold for us, especially if we get as big a field as we've had all season. 30 plus cars typically. So we'll see what happens. It's just survival next week. I mean, just as we all say at the beginning in Track Bar Motorsports, is just good luck, don't die. So that's pretty much our game plan next week.
Well, it worked out this week. Congrats yet again, Chris. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
I want to shout out with the NTRL guys. That we run a couple different leagues with these guys, and it's always a lot of fun. So appreciate DW and those guys putting it on every week. Steve, you over here at HBR TV. It's always great to go back and watch these. Sometimes it's better than others depending on how you finish, but I definitely appreciate you doing that and letting us go back and watch it. Popple being on the car. They've been longtime supporter there for a while. So Track Bar Media, Eric Dodson State Farm Agency, Castle Products, That S4 guys, Zach over on Twitch, Beatles Custom Carriers, Right Turn Wraps, all my teammates over at Track Bar Motorsports, Zach and Alfie and Jesse and Crystal and everybody. So we just look forward to hopefully surviving next week, and maybe we'll get to talk again.
And real quick, Chris, you make a good point talking about some races are better than others to go back and watch based on how you do. And that really is the truth. If you want more TV time, either be really good or do something really stupid. Those two things are guaranteed to get you on air.
That's right. Or be Mike Fahey and everybody goes to see you, Rick.
All right, Chris, thanks for chatting with us, man. Good luck next week at Bristol.
I appreciate it, Steve. Have a good one.
Too. Chris Goins, your runner-up here at Texas Motor Speedway. Next, we're going to talk to last week's winner, the driver of the number 71, Connor Leach. Put it in victory lane last week. Third place finish here this week. Connor, it's Steve in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, Steve.
Connor, good to talk once again. Congrats on another solid top three finish here at Texas Motor Speedway. Looked like you had at least a second place, maybe more lined up, but third place it is. Walk us through that late race battle between yourself and the 41 of Chris Goins. I know there was a little bit of a tire disparity between yourself and Goins.
I wouldn't say I even deserve a top three. I mean, Jim Ott, he pit one lap sooner than me, and I guess he ran out of fuel, which is it's pretty tough for him. That's a tough way to go out. But I mean, we made it into the top 3. I was kind of chasing Millet down for a bit, but I think I was okay in 1 and 2, running a good line through there with Sisk and the Sisk Speed Shop. He kind of taught us a couple things about Texas, and we were very focused on 1 and 2, and 3 and 4. I think I kept gassing it up about 100 feet too soon, and I was constantly throughout the race flirting with disaster on that outside wall coming out of 4. Yeah, it was. I think Gones had a bit fresher tires. Jim Huck got past me, then Gones was coming with a bit fresher tires. He got past, and at that point I was kind of like, well, I'm in 4th. Let's just ride and save tires, and hopefully maybe there'll be a caution at the end, and maybe I've saved a little bit more at the end. But no, we got lucky there with Jim Hunt running out of fuel. Like, I wouldn't be talking to you if he had pit on the same lap as me, but maybe if he had pit on the same lap as me, he wouldn't have jumped me. So who knows what could have happened, but it was a fun race. It's a tough track, and yeah, going into this, we did a little bit of practice with Caleb telling us a little bit about the track, and I think it definitely helped a lot. I don't think I would have done nearly as well if we didn't have the Sisk Speed Shop on board helping us run these laps. But it was a good, fun race, and hopefully it was fun to watch.
Certainly seems that Caleb, being in everybody's ear as a team strategist, has really improved the pace of just about everybody on that team. What is it about Sisk Speed Shop that makes you guys that much faster?
I think he's just got the know-how for a lot of these tracks, and he'll bring up points that you probably would never think about, just with, you know, where the banking is and the difference in all these tracks, where the banking starts, how much banking there is, and a couple little points on the track to aim for all night long, and that really makes a big difference.
Well, it's certainly evident. We see it not just out of you, but the whole entire team each and every week. You guys have certainly picked up the pace from the previous seasons. That's also a blast to see. Moving forward, we look at Bristol Motor Speedway next week. Of course, we asked the opinion of Zach and Chris, and they're above basically the same opinion. It's going to be a disaster. What do you think Bristol's going to be like last week? I've got higher expectations than that. I think it'll be all right.
I think we'll be all right. Like, I mean, after a showing like this with the NTRL League with no cautions out there, I think we can step it up a notch and put on a really good show. And I think it'll be a fun race. I mean, Bristol's tough. It's tight quarters. It's short track race and high banks, but I think we'll be able to put on a good show for you.
Certainly looking forward to it. Connor, again, congratulations. I do want to say we've noticed some fresh colors on that race car tonight. Walk us through the new paint scheme and the sponsors on board, and really anybody else that you want to thank before we let you go.
Yeah, big shout out to Nick Biddy. He kind of put together a paint scheme for me. I was sort of one. I've been running a couple of just random schemes off of trading paints. But yeah, big shout out to Nick Biddy. He threw this scheme together. Jackman's maple syrup. I can't say I've had it often, but I have had it once or twice in a restaurant out in Ontario, and apparently it's damn good maple syrup. And from what I remember, it is darn good. So yeah, big shout out to Nick Biddy for putting the scheme on the car, and we got this Speed Shop. You know, he's got me, Nick Biddy, and Skylar Hare all going. We're going pretty quick right now, so I'm hoping this season continues this way. We've been having some good runs, some bad luck, but hopefully we keep this momentum going with some good luck.
Whole lot of Canada on that number 71. Even got Tim Hortons on the side.
Oh yeah.
Got to throw Bob and Doug McKenzie on the back and call it a day.
Yeah, I think that would be a good call, good idea there.
Connor, congratulations, man. Thanks for talking to us, and good luck at the short track at Bristol next week.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Thanks for putting on the broadcast.
It's Connor Leach, your third place finisher here at Texas Motor Speedway. That's going to do it for our top 3 interviews. Let's take a look at the race results. Of course, we talked to our top 3 already. That was Zach Millett, Chris Gones, Connor Leach, Nick Biddy was 4th. Alfie Charon Jr. came home with a solid top 5. Paul Durkee was 6th. Jesse Redding comes home in the 7th spot. Skylar Harrod locked up 8th. Matt Sisler drove from the back all the way to 9th. Curious to see how he would have run tonight if he did not have to go to the rear at the start, but nevertheless, a good recovery for the 93. Anthony Williams, a solid top 10. Jim Ott slipped to a 11th place finish after running out of fuel. PJ Cox was 12th. Jesse Sperling, the number 29, finished in the 13th spot. The first car, one lap down, was PJ Cox. I'm sorry, other way around. Yes, PJ Cox was the first lap down. Jesse Sperling, second lap down. Then Mark Collins finished in the 14th spot. Ken Couch was 15th. Jarrett Woodard finished in the 16th position. 17th was Joe David. Dylan Bryant finished out in the 18th spot. 19th went to Ben McKinnon. 20th, Brandon Coleman, 2 laps down. Derek Welch was 21st. 22nd, Scott Milner. Justin Lawson, 23rd. Crystal Volano was 24th. Russ Endicott, 25th. Albert Anderson, after an early strong run and some contact with the wall, relegated him with some damage on the right front. He finishes 26th. 27th was Chuck Kiger. Josh Moore, 28th. Tom Barish out of this one early, 29th, 108 laps down. That said, congratulations yet again to Zach Millett. Thank you guys all for tuning in. I didn't say it once tonight, but thank you for tuning in and watching the broadcast this evening. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and click that thumbs up on the stream. Share it with your friends. Subscribe if you're not already, and hit that little bell to turn on those notifications so when we go live, you don't miss a moment of the action. It's going to do it for us here at Texas Motor Speedway. Tune in yet again here tomorrow evening for the Spark Truck Series, about 9 p.m. in the Eastern Time here at HBR TV. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you at the next one.
You under my spell.